Good morning, everyone. I get the hint, a few words. First of all, out there, where's Cornelius O'Leary? Can you just raise your hand? There you are. Con? I have been tremendously honored to succeed former Majority Leader Cornelius O'Leary, who is from Windsor Locks, and represent the great people of Windsor Locks for the last 27 years. How many people here in this room are from Windsor Locks? Awesome. You're all my constituents. It is an honor to serve all of you. I grew up just one town south in the town of Windsor, first English settlement in the state of Connecticut, no matter what Wethersfield says. And it was just always so cool to know that during a certain period of time, when I was a teenager, that the governor of the state of Connecticut hailed from just one town up. I mean, we would marvel at that. Myself, my mom, my dad, my brothers, because there weren't that much history of governors coming from our neck of the woods. I mean, you can get a Supreme Court Chief Justice in Oliver Ellsworth, but you got to go back to George Washington's times. And to have Ella from our neck of the woods meant that she sort of knew what life was like in our part of the state. And you felt connected and you felt represented. She was a very practical and down-to-earth person. I'm not going to kid you. I have to be careful what I say here because I feel like I got the professor behind me, because the lieutenant governor did indeed write the book on Ella Grasso and did an awesome job. But there's so many interesting stories. First of all, she's portrayed as rather homespun, but she is sharp as a tack. You know, went to Chaffey, Mount Holyoke, just smart, smart, smart person. Politically savvy. In a day and age where men were controlling pretty much everything, she rose up through the ranks and did it the hard way, did it on her own merits. Again, didn't walk into any footsteps because of her husband, but did it on her own merit. And she also changed the course of the state of Connecticut. It used to be that the senior judges would march up the ladder, go to the appellate court, then go to the Supreme Court. And somebody came up to Governor Grasso and said, you know, if we continue along this path, it'll be forever before a woman ever gets to the Supreme Court. And she just plunked out and pulled out Ellen Ash Peters and made her the Chief Justice from Yale. She was a Yale professor. She changed the whole system. And now we have a judicial branch that's filled with diversity, not only along gender lines, but along men, women, and I'm sure in the future there'll be transgender and everything else, because we believe in diversity. I have fond memories of when I was at UConn and that giant storm rolled in, that great blizzard, and Ella did not hesitate to protect the public safety and shut the state down. We all remember that if we lived through that. It was a marvel, but she took it very seriously. And if you lived through that, and I was at my dorm in UConn, it's just always be in your memory. As the lieutenant governor said, I will keep it short. I have one little story that sort of, to me, defines sort of the beauty and the nature of Governor Grasso. To this day in the state of Connecticut, we do not have motorcycle helmet laws. In fact, I sit on transportation right now, and we had a hearing where the room was filled with bikers, and they're intimidating, right? They got their Harley-Davidson leather jackets, and they're big and brawny, and they flood the room, and they go, no, no, no. And it's sort of that libertarian streak that runs through the veins of the state of Connecticut. And that same debate about biker helmets was still there way back when, in Governor Grasso's time. And I think I watched it on a CPTV special or read it in a book, but classic story that these big, brawny bikers, there was a bill to mandate motorcycle helmets, and they barraged the governor's office. We're going to make sure Governor Grasso knows we don't want any helmets. And so a bunch of them crammed into the governor's office, and they're like hovering over her. And she just sits there, nonplussed, not flustered in any way, and just looked up and said, but boys, I just don't want you to get hurt out there. And they all sort of like, looked down at their boots and like went, aw shucks, and then just sort of shuffled out of the office. She totally just took the wind out of their sails with kindness. So I think if we're going to remember anything on this 100th anniversary of her birthday, is not only was she a trailblazer, a very intelligent politician as well as someone who governed, public servant, but she was a genuinely nice human being who just cared about her fellow men and women. And if we can think about anything today and keep it close to our own hearts, she's a role model for all of us for just caring about the people that we all live with. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Secretary.